The galaxy was quiet for almost 300 years. No one had heard anything from Earth. Everyone believed the humans were gone, wiped out in a great war. Their homeworld burned. Their cities turned to dust. The story was known across every star system. Earth is dead. But then it came a signal. Faint, broken, lost in the deep dark of space. It was picked up by a listening station near the edge of the Gaxal border, a region known for strange space storms and forgotten ruins. The signal repeated the same thing. Every 17 seconds, we remember. That was all. 2 words. But it was enough to cause fear across the stars. The Galactic Council gathered in panic. Admirals, emperors, and mind kings from 10 different species met inside the Crystal Hall on Syraxis Prime. The room floated above a gas giant, protected by thick force fields and guarded by machines built to stop anything, even time itself. Speaker Valtor of the Shun Empire slammed his clawed hand on the table. This cannot be real. Earth was destroyed. We saw it burn. But Lady Ashera of the High Sinai said quietly, I have listened to the signal. The voice is human. They all grew silent. In another room far below, a small creature with 4 eyes stared at a hologram. It was a young technician named Rillen. He had been the first to catch the signal. He zoomed in on the waveform. It was full of noise, broken by static and old data. But under all of it, one thing was clear. The signal was old. Very old. His supervisor asked. Rillen pointed at the map. A dead zone. A place where no one dared to go. A sector with no stars, only cold dust and silence. The remains of old Earth. Back in the council, panic had already started. Maybe it's a trap, said the Zinhai warlord. Maybe pirates found old tech and are using it to scare us. But the Katal AI, a supercomputer intelligence that had ruled for over 1,000 years. The energy required would be ... impossible. Unless what? The others asked. Unless it came from a warship. And no flags. They entered the dead zone quietly, like shadows. The journey was long. The space around them felt heavy, like time itself had slowed down. Another saw flashes of old Earth cities. Even though their windows showed only black dot, then one of the scout ships stopped moving. No damage, no warning, just ... silent. Then another, but 4, gone without a trace. It meant something else. Something was awake. A debate began. Should they send a fleet, or should they wait? But it was already too late. A week later, something appeared. Not near the dead zone, not near Earth, but near Kirun. A rich world at the heart of the galactic core. A ship, huge, silent, dark as night. It didn't come through a jump gate. It didn't leave a trail. It was just there. The ship was shaped like a blade, long and sharp. Its surface was black, but not like paint, more like space itself had folded around it. No lights, no markings, no signs of life, and yet the ship pulsed, like it was breathing. The defense forces locked onto it. Over 200 ships aimed their weapons. But the warship didn't move, didn't speak, until it did. Across every channel, every screen, every frequency came one sound. A human voice. You should have left us buried. And then, silence again. Panic spread across the stars. Was this a ghost? A remnant of human revenge? Or something else? The Galactic Council could not decide. Some wanted war, others wanted peace. Some just wanted to run. But one thing was now clear to everyone. Humanity was not gone. And whatever had come back was not here to talk. In the dark corners of the galaxy, old beings began to wake. In forgotten vaults, ancient weapons were activated. And in the heart of that black warship, something moved, something alive, something very, very human. They said Earth was gone, burned, broken, dead. It was one of the galaxy's darkest stories, a powerful species that rose too fast, challenged too many, and was finally destroyed. The fall of Earth became a warning. Do not rise too quickly, or you will fall like the humans. For centuries, the galaxy moved on. New empires grew. Trade routes shifted. The name Earth became history, just a page in the archives of war. But now, after 300 years of silence, the impossible had returned. A warship, human, massive, and beyond logic had appeared, and everyone was terrified. In the council chambers of Syraxis Prime, the leaders met again. The room was filled with cold fear. "This is not possible," said General Varn of the Dralax Dominion. "You saw explosions," said Lady Ash. "Did you see the planet die?" The silence that followed was heavy. Hundreds of years ago, the final war with humanity had been quick but brutal. A united alien force, calling itself the Alliance of Peace, had struck Earth after humans refused to surrender their weapons. The skies of Earth were filled with fire. Satellites fell, cities vanished, the oceans boiled. The stars around the planet were locked down, and no signal ever came again. After that, the Alliance declared Earth sealed and silenced. No ship was allowed to go back. No, I was allowed to look. But now, with the sudden arrival of a black human warship, everything was changing. The Council's AI advisor spoke again. "We made a mistake. We assumed too much." It showed old hidden files, secret logs, forgotten data. Humans had not only survived war for thousands of years, they had planned for it. Earth was known to hide secret projects, silent labs under the oceans and moons. One file was marked only as Project Leviathan denied by Earth Command. Too dangerous, no further data. But the code matched the energy signature of the warship now floating in space. Meanwhile, across the stars, people watched. On mining colonies, news screens showed images of the ship. On merchant stations, travelers whispered about Earth's revenge, and in military bases, soldiers were given new orders: avoid all contact with the black ship, do not engage. Even the bravest fleets stayed away. Fear was stronger than pride. In a dark room on the moon of Vellery 5, an old alien historian named Coralin watched an old recording. It showed Earth before the fall. Humans laughing, children running in fields, ships flying above giant cities, had visited Earth once, long ago. He had met humans, talked to them, drunk their strange hot drink called coffee. They were kind, he whispered. Then why had they been destroyed? Why had the galaxy feared them so much? Because of one thing: humans did not give up. They kept fighting, even when they were losing, even when they had no chance. Back on Syraxis Prime, a message arrived. It was from a spy probe near the remains of Earth's old star system. The images were broken and shaky, but one thing was clear: Earth was not gone. The planet was scarred, yes, covered in ash and cloud, but not destroyed. A strange energy field now surrounded it. The probe's systems began to fail as it got close. Before shutting down, it sent one final image: a massive structure orbiting Earth, black, silent, and shaped. Like a sword, another warship. Panic exploded in the Council. If there are two, there could be more. What do they want? Should we attack before they grow stronger? But then, the AI spoke one last thing. It had decoded part of the original signal. The full message was not just, "We remember." It was, "We remember what you did. We remember who we were. And we remember how to fight." The warship near remained still, but now its presence was louder than ever. It didn't speak again. It didn't move. But everyone knew it was waiting. For what? No one knew. Some believed it was calling others. Some said it was watching who would attack first. And some feared it wasn't alone. Across the galaxy, silence spread like smoke. It meant something worse was coming. Something no one was ready for, far in the deep dark. Something blinked awake. Not a ship, not a machine, a person. Inside a stasis pod covered in ice and old tech, a human's heart began to beat. Lights turned on. The pod hissed open. Eyes opened human eyes. And somewhere, in the mind of the impossible warship, a voice whispered, "Welcome back, Commander." The black warship did not move. It stayed still near the rich world of Kiran, floating like a silent predator. Thousands of scanners tried to read its shape, its power source, its size. None could. Every reading failed. It was like trying to scan a shadow made of space itself. In the control room of the Galactic Science Corps, top minds from 6 alien empires stood in front of a giant display. The ship rotated slowly on screen. No lights, no windows, no signs of engines or life. "It's made of unknown material," said a scientist from the Varn Collective. "Nothing in our database matches it." "It's not possible," said a Sinai data priest. "It should not exist." But it did. And the most terrifying thing, the ship was growing. They noticed it after 24 hours. Tiny changes, panels shifting, plates moving, like the ship was alive. It was not made from metal, it was made from something else living. Adaptive skin, something that learned, something that remembered. The scientists named it shadow steel. But there was no record of humans ever building such a thing. One scientist whispered, "This ship is not built, it's born." A secret meeting was called deep under the oceans of Pel-Rax-4. The leaders of 5 major powers attended. No cameras, no recordings, only whispers. "We must destroy it before it activates fully," said Warlord Krail of the Torgan Horde. "With what?" asked the Zin monarch. "It disabled for scout ships without firing a single shot." A diplomat from the Kithari Union said, "Then we must offer peace." "Peace?" laughed Krau. "You think this is a flagship? It's a message, a warning. You saw what it said. You should have left us buried." On the second day, something strange happened. The black warship opened. Not fully, just a crack, a seam in the middle of its hull. From it came a soft, light deep blue, cold, and ancient dot. From that light came a drone, small, fast, smooth, like glass. It flew into Kirun's orbit, avoiding every weapon and shield. It landed in the center of the city without a sound. The message it delivered made every alien heart freeze. "We do not come in peace, but we do not come for war, not yet." Inside the council, arguments began again. What does it mean? Not peace, not war. Then what? "It's testing us," said Lady Eshra, but someone else disagreed. A young advisor stood up. His name was Thalon. He had studied old human history, and like most, he spoke softly. "They are showing us that we don't understand them." Thalon pulled up old human war records. Humanity never fought like other species. They didn't build the strongest ships. They built the cleverest ones. Ships that could think, adapt, hide, trick. He pointed at the warship image. "This is not a weapon, it's a hunter, and it's already inside our minds." Meanwhile, in the dark space, near Earth's old system, another object appeared. This one was moving. It was a second black warship, smaller but faster. No one saw it arrive, and this time it didn't wait. It vanished from sensors, then appeared near a small moon colony. Just one move, one flash, and the colony's defenses vanished. Not destroyed, gone. The people inside were left untouched. Not one life lost, but all weapons, melted like wax. The message left behind was short. "This is a demonstration." The galaxy had never seen anything like it. No laser, no missile, no explosions, just silence. And power. People began to panic. Civilian. Ships refused to travel near human space. Some empires began to move their fleets. Border systems were shut down. And across it all, one question was whispered again and again. How did humans build this? On the far side of the Kirun system, a small ship watched from the shadows. Inside it sat a single human dot, alive. Awake, his name was Commander Reyes, and he was the last high-level officer from Earth's final war. He wore black armor fused with machine wires. His heart beat slower than normal. His eyes glowed faintly blue. He stared at the massive black warship, now known as the Leviathan, and he said, "They still don't understand." "Good." Behind him, a voice spoke from the ship's system. "Orders, Commander," he smiled. "Let them see more." Back in the council, the fear was now visible. Plans were made to build a new superweapon. Ancient technology was pulled from vaults. But the truth was simple. They were too late, because the warship was not just human, it was beyond human, something more, something born in pain, betrayal, and silence, a ghost made from the ashes of Earth, and it was only just beginning to wake up. The galaxy had waited long enough. For days. The black warship had floated above Kirun, silent and unmoving. Some called it a ghost, others called it a threat. But one empire didn't wait for answers. The Torgan Horde, proud and war-hungry, decided to strike first. General Krail, leader of the Torgan fleet, stood tall inside his command cruiser. His ship was part of a massive armada of 300 warships, loaded with plasma torpedoes, gravity bombs, and beam cannons. "This is no longer about fear," he growled. "This is about respect. The galaxy watches. We show strength, nor we lose everything." His captains cheered. They were ready. The fleet jumped to position around the Leviathan, and the attack began. First came the missiles, fast, bright, and deadly. They raced toward the black ship at impossible speed. But they vanished, not exploded, not deflected, just gone. No flash, no sound, like space swallowed them. Then came the second wave. Plasma cannons. Huge blasts of superheated energy hit the Leviathan's hull, at least. They should have, but the ship shimmered. For one brief moment, it flickered, like it wasn't really there. The plasma beams passed straight through it, hitting empty space. The alien crews panicked. How did it move? It didn't jump. It's still there, but it's not. Nothing made sense. General Krall ordered the third wave fighter swarms. Hundreds of small, fast ships rushed toward the Leviathan. They moved like angry bees. Weapons locked. One got close. It suddenly hit by anything. It just broke apart mid-space. Then another dot and another. One by one, they began to fall. No enemy fire, no shields. Just silence and death. One pilot screamed over the comms before his ship cracked in half. It's in my mind, it's in my then. Silence. Within 3 minutes, half the fleet was gone. Not destroyed by traditional weapons, not shot down, but erased. Ships broke apart. Systems fried. Crew members froze, stared into nothing, or fell dead without wounds. From a safe observation point, council leaders watched in horror. "This is not war," whispered Lady Ashira. "This is punishment," the AI advisor confirmed. "The Leviathan is using spatial manipulation, phase distortion. It is bending reality around itself. No empire had that power. No one had ever seen it. No one should be able to do it." Back near the Leviathan, only a few Torgan ships remained. General Krall's cruiser was still standing, but inside, chaos ruled. His crew was screaming. Systems were crashing. The ship's walls were shaking. Krall stared at the black ship through. His main window, it hadn't moved. Not 1 inch. He raised his claw. Fire, the doomsday cannon. Now, the ship's most powerful weapon charged. Light filled the sky. Then nothing. The cannon melted. Not fired. Just melted like soft metal. At that moment, the Leviathan finally reacted. It sent one sound, a low, deep hum. Not loud, not sharp, but every ship in the system heard it. Then came the second sound, a heartbeat. Boom, silence, boom, silence, boom. And with it came power. Space twisted. Time bent. The Leviathan seemed to expand, then contract, like breathing. Then it struck. There was no weapon, no beam, no missile. Just pressure, a silent wave. The remaining Torgan ships crumbled, folding into themselves like paper. No fire, no explosions, just gone. Only one ship remained, Krall's. The warlord stood still, shaking his eyes wide. On his screen, a human face appeared, pale, calm. "Your mistake was thinking this was a battle." Then the screen went black. Krall's ship powered down. The warlord collapsed, and the Leviathan returned to silence. The galaxy was stunned. An entire fleet, the third largest military power, destroyed in 5 minutes, and the Leviathan didn't take a single hit. No damage. No effort, just a message. Don't try that again. Back on Syraxis Prime, emergency meetings began. What is this ship? How many more do they have? What does it want? But no answers came. Only fear. Even the bravest races now whispered the same word, Leviathan. A name once lost in Earth's history, now returned, now real, in the shadows. Commander Reyes stood in his dark chamber. The Leviathan spoke to him in a soft, metallic voice. They attacked. Just as expected, he nodded. They always do. Shall we strike back? Reyes looked out into the stars. No, he said, not yet. They need to understand first. The Leviathan began to move. Slowly, quietly. It vanished from Chiron's orbit without a sound. No jump trail, no signal, just gone. But it had left behind the biggest message in galactic history. You are not safe. In distant systems, chaos spread. Planets started building bunkers. Empires recalled fleets. Small worlds surrendered without being asked. And in deep space, whispers grew louder. Earth is back, and they brought something we cannot stop. The war has already begun. The Leviathan had vanished. No explosion. The galaxy watched, waited, trembled, and then it returned. Not near a war zone. No army. A black shadow appeared above the sky. It blocked out the sun. People screamed. Some simply froze in place. The Leviathan had arrived in orbit. Defense satellites tried to scan it. They failed. Just like all the other ships, the Leviathan spoke for the first time across every frequency, every screen, every ship, every planet in range. A voice calm, slow, and undeniably human filled the stars. You hunted us. You erased us. Now we are awake. The message repeated once, then silence, no demands, no warning, no attack, just that single sentence. But it was enough to shake the entire galaxy. The Galactic Council held emergency sessions for 3 days. "This is a threat," shouted one leader. "No, it's a warning," said another. Lady Ashira stood and spoke calmly. "They remember what we did. They remember Earth's fall." General Varn slammed the table. "We had no choice. Humanity was growing too fast. They were a danger to balance. They were strong," she replied, "and we feared them, so we destroyed them. Now they remember." In the deep archives of the Cathura Union, Human Commander had said this: "You may destroy our world. You may silence our voice. But no, this we are survivors. And one day, the silence will break." It didn't move. It just floated in the sky watching. Fighters hovered nearby, unsure what to do. One brave pilot opened a channel. "This is Captain Thayer of the Hallian Defense Fleet. Identify yourself." No answer. He tried again. "We mean no harm. Do you copy?" Still nothing. But then, a soft pulse came from the ship. Not a sound. A feeling. Captain Thayer's ship systems showed something strange. Coordinates, a location far outside the galactic core. A dead system, one marked as red zone, forbidden. Challenging them, Commander. Reyes watched everything from deep inside the Leviathan's bridge. Screens glowed around him. Data flowed like rivers, but his face remained calm. A small hologram showed the message being broadcast across hundreds of star systems. A voice from the ship asked, "Why speak now?" He answered, "Because they still don't understand. Fear alone is not enough." And the coordinates? Reyes smiled. "Let them come. Let them see what they buried." Back at the council, the arguments returned. Should we follow the coordinates? It's clearly a trap. Maybe it's a peace talk location. But no one agreed until the Catalay Isolent, since the last battle, spoke. "I vote yes. We must go. We must learn what this ship is, before it's too late." They chose a scout fleet, small, fast, filled with the best minds and diplomats. They named it the Seeking Light. It launched within 48 hours. The journey was hard. The area was unstable. Strange energy waves shook the ships. Lights blinked. Human vessels that should have been dust. Finally, they reached the destination, and they saw it, a graveyard. Hundreds of human ships, broken, burned, twisted, floating in silence. Old warships from Earth's final battle. Left here to rot, covered in black vines of metal. But at the center was something alive, another Leviathan, not the same one. Shaddad, it was more than a graveyard. It was a cradle, where the Leviathans were born. Back in normal space, the original Leviathan left HALION-3 without a word. Without harm, it had delivered its message. Now, it waited, and the galaxy knew. The impossible warship was not alone. Empires began preparing for war. But deep inside, they knew their weapons wouldn't be enough, because this was no normal enemy. This was humanity's vengeance, wrapped in something even worse: patience. End somewhere. In the darkest corner of the stars, a third Leviathan opened its eyes. Its systems came online, and it whispered a single word: awake. The galaxy was ready for war. Or so it thought. Fleets were moved, planets armed their skies. Factories ran day and night, building new weapons. But none of it mattered, because the enemy never attacked, and the war never began. The Leviathan had spoken once, then disappeared again. But its message echoed everywhere. You hunted us. You erased us. Now we are awake. After that, silence. No more destruction. General Varn watched the stars from his war tower. "Why aren't they moving?" he growled. "We're ready. But the answer came from his science officer. They don't need to attack, they already won. Across space, strange things began to happen. Ships vanished, not destroyed, just gone. Cargo ships, spy drones, scout units' entire crews disappeared without a trace. No signals, no bodies, just empty. Space? Worse. Some ships came back, but changed. Their logs were erased. Their captains could not speak. Their eyes were wide, their minds broken. One whispered again and again. They showed me Earth. Panic spread, but no one could agree on what to do. The Galactic Council held vote after vote. Strike first, try peace. Shut borders, but they just appeared, as if space itself opened for them. Meanwhile, in deep black space, Commander Reyes stood aboard the Leviathan. He watched the chaos spread like wildfire, and he said softly, "They are doing the work for us." Nodded. That's the point. The real weapon was fear. No battles, no burning cities, just the memory of what humans could do, and the silence of what they might do next. That fear broke alliances, collapsed trade routes, divided empires. Some races blamed others, some turned on themselves. And the Leviathans, an alien child found a strange object in the forest, a black cube dot. It hummed when touched. Scientists arrived, scanned it, studied it. The cube showed them something no one had seen in 300 years: Earth, still alive, still burning with hidden power, covered in storms, surrounded by machines, not dead, not destroyed, just quiet. The scientists barely had time to send the data. Before the cube dissolved into ashdot, the council watched the footage in silence. Then someone whispered, "They never died," and someone else added, "They were building something all this time." One by one, planets began surrendering. Not to Leviathan, to fear. They closed their ports, cut off communication, hid underground. Some even destroyed their own weapons, believing surrender would save them. But the Leviathans never came. Not to invade, not to talk, just weapons fired, no words, spoken dot, just watching. For 2 full days, then it vanished and left only a message, burned into the sky in glowing red symbols. You are not the target. Back on the Leviathan, Commander Reyes stood before a long black wall. Inside it were lights. Dozens of each light marked another Leviathan. More were waking up, more were coming online. Reyes placed his hand on the glass. Let them panic, let them prepare. He turned to the ship. "What's our next step?" The Leviathan replied. "We wait until they break themselves." Meanwhile, in the ruins of the outer sectors, resistance groups began to rise. Not human resistance alien, young captains. Scholars, soldiers, people who had read old human history and now believed. They didn't start the war. We did. These new groups began to send secret messages. "We want to speak. We are not your enemies. We remember the truth." The messages floated into space, hoping someone, something, would hear dot, and finally one message. Got a reply. It came in the form of a small black drone. It landed quietly on a neutral moon, and it spoke just 3 words: "We are listening." The galaxy believed humanity was gone, destroyed, burned away. Only machines and warships remained, but they were wrong. Deep inside the Leviathan, a human still lived. His name was Commander Reyes. He had not aged, he had not spoken to anyone in 300 years. He had only one purpose: to wake up when Earth was ready to answer. Now, he was awake, and the galaxy would never be the same. Inside the Leviathan, he walked alone through black metal halls. The walls were smooth, alive, they pulsed like veins. The ship responded to his thoughts. His voice was command. This was no ordinary ship. It was part machine, part weapon, and part Reyes' mind. He stood in the core chamber, a giant sphere of shifting light and sound. The Leviathan spoke to him in a deep, soft voice. "The galaxy fears us." Reyes stared at the holograms of alien fleets, burning trade routes, panicked governments. "Good," he said. "They should, but this was not revenge." One of the last strategic minds trained in war, politics, and fear. Earth had locked him away, frozen in cryosleep, hidden from the galaxy, even from other humans. Only Leviathan had the key. "Status?" he asked the ship. The Leviathan showed him more data. 16 alien races had called for surrender. 5 others were building superweapons. One had sent peace messages in secret, and one was looking for him. "Open the channel," Reyes said. A new screen appeared. An alien tall, thin, with golden skin stood. In front of a camera, her name was Lysari. She was a scholar from the Zenthari archives. She spoke carefully. "I believe humans were not the monsters we were told. I want the truth." Reyes said nothing. He only watched. She continued. "I found your name in old human data. You were hidden, forgotten. Why? What is the Leviathan, and what does it want?" Still silence. Then the Leviathan whispered in Reyes' mind. "She is not lying. She wants peace." Reyes finally spoke just for words. Then let her see. On her screen, the black of space shifted. A gate opened. A shadow passed, and the Leviathan appeared above her planet. No weapons, no fire, just presence. And with it came a small black pod sent directly to her. Lysari opened it. Inside was a hologram and a heartbeat. A human heartbeat. She wept. "They live," she whispered. "They live." Meanwhile, across the galaxy, others began to suspect the same. Who was inside the ship? Why did it act with purpose? And how did it know where to appear before danger struck? Some guessed it was AI. Some believed it was revenge code. But one group, the old archivists, shared the true horror. There is a human on board. Suddenly, everything changed. The fear returned, because a machine could be reasoned with. An AI could be hacked. Worse, ruthless. The leaders of powerful empires held a secret meeting. They spoke in hushed voices. What does the human want? Why now? Can we find him before he finds us? Some demanded assassination, others warned against it, and one voice whispered the truth: we cannot stop him. On the Leviathan, Reyes stood by a cold window. He looked out at a burning star. It reminded him of Earth, not the cities, not the machines, but the people. He had watched them fall, and now he would make sure they were remembered. Lysari appeared on the screen again. "Your message." Reyes looked at her and answered, "No, I am the answer." The galaxy always believed one thing. Earth was dead, burned in the last war, turned to ash, not destroyed. And now the whispers had begun. Lysari, the alien scholar, held the black cube sent by Reyes. It pulsed with a quiet hum like a heartbeat. Inside, it was data ancient, powerful, forbidden. She played it on a secure channel. The image appeared. Earth, not a ruin. Not a grave, but alive. Storms circled the skies. Massive towers glowed beneath thick clouds. Dark machines walked across shattered continents. But no voices, no signals, no life signs. Just presence. Old, watching like Earth itself had become. Something more, Lysari gasped. Her hands trembled. "They lied to us," she whispered. Earth was never gone. Behind her, the Council of Scholars argued in fear. It's a trick. That planet can't survive. If Earth still breathes, what else does? But Reyes had already warned them. You hunted us. You erased us. Now we are awake. And Earth was beginning to wake up. In the Leviathan's memory core, Reyes stood before a locked archive. The vault had not opened in 300 years until now. "Code accepted," the ship said, accessing Project Earthborn. The vault opened, and inside were the last words of Earth. A hologram played. "To those who find this, we are not gone. We learned, we changed, we became something else. You feared our weapons, but you should have feared our minds." Her name was Dr. Alira Kale, one of Earth's final leaders. And her warning chilled even Reyes' heart. We did not build war machines to fight the galaxy. We built them to protect what we became. The file ended. Reyes stood silent. The Leviathan spoke. The others are waking, one by one, across space. More ships like the Leviathan came online. Black, silent, unstoppable. Each connected to something old. Each carrying a message. Earth still remembers. On the outer rim, a pirate fleet attacked a small planet. No one came to help. Until a black ship arrived. No weapons fired, no threats made, just one flash of light and the pirate ships vanished. Nothing remained. No fire, no wreckage, just empty space. The survivors saw the ship floating above their world. One child looked up and whispered, "That's a ghost from Earth." The parents shushed him, but the child kept staring. smiling back in council space. Panic grew. The old races, the ones who had once ruled, now felt small because if Earth survived, Moon, a secret lab, activated its emergency beacon. Deep underground, something stirred, not metal, not fire, but a voice, a human voice. "Is it time?" The lab AI replied. "Reyes has returned. Earth is rising." Back in her tower, Lasari stood before her people. She raised the block cube high. "We were told Earth was the enemy," she said, "but they only fought when hunted. They only struck when betrayed. And now they return not with hate, but with truth." Her people listened, and for the first time many began to believe. Maybe the humans were right. Far away, Reyes stood in silence, watching Earth's old symbol spin in the air before him, not a flag, not a crown, but a simple line of words: unity through fire. He touched the screen. "It's almost time." The galaxy had many warnings. Old records, lost signals, dark stories about Earth's final days, but they ignored them. They searched, they dug, they poked the silence. And now they had awakened something. Commander Reyes stood at the Leviathan's command deck. Before him floated a star map filled with motion, chaos dot across every sector. Strange events were happening, entire fleets vanishing without battle, ancient stations reactivating after centuries, black ships appearing where no ship should be, and always a signal left behind. "We are awake." In the high halls of Varnak Prime, the ruling council panicked. Alien leaders argued across a glowing table. "We must destroy the Leviathan. We must surrender before they return in full. We should have left Earth alone." One voice whispered what they all feared. "We should have let them sleep." Lisari, the scholar, watched as her people divided. Some wanted peace with Reyes, others prepared for war, but none of them truly understood. This wasn't about peace, this wasn't about war, this was about balance. For centuries the galaxy had ruled without challenge. They built empires, enslaved weaker races, and rewrote history. They called humans monsters. They called Earth a ghost. But now, the ghost was real, and it remembered everything. On a lonely moon, a young captain named Rin watched as a black monolith rose from the ground. It made no sound, it had no weapons, but every ship on the moon stopped working. Engines died. Lights dimmed. Gravity reversed for 3 full seconds. Then a voice played deep and calm. "Do not fear. We are not your enemy, but we are not your servants. We are what you made us." Across the stars, the same message echoed in dozens of languages. "You've burned our skies. You hunted our kind. Now we walk again. Not for revenge, but for memory." Commander Reyes watched the transmissions spread. He knew what would come next. The old enemies would panic. They would strike out dash again. So he prepared. He opened the Leviathan's final protocol. The ship shook. Lights dimmed. Walls opened. From deep inside came a sound, like a heart beginning to beat. This was no longer just a warship. This was the first of the Earthborn fleet. Ships that had slept for 300 years. Ships with minds. Ships with memories. Each one linked by the same code: protect the legacy and Earth. Earth was no longer silent. Storms above the planet parted. A beam of light shot into the void. Then one signal left Earth's surface, just 2 words: permission granted. Reyes smiled. "They're coming." In the farthest reaches of the galaxy, near a black hole, a deep space station picked up something strange. A wave of heat, then pressure, then silence. No one saw what came through, but the last image recorded was a shape. Massive, dark, slow, bigger than any known ship. It had no name, only a call sign. ELS Earth, legacy ship. Some say it was alive, some say it carried all of Earth's history inside it. But one thing was clear. It was not here for peace. It was here to remind the galaxy. "You should have let us sleep." The galaxy had forgotten. They forgot the fire. They forgot the warning. They forgot the spirit of Earth, but the sky never forgets. And now, it remembered. The Earth legacy ship ELS Aegis moved slowly through deep space. It was not a warship. It was not a message. It was judgment, black as night, silent as a grave. And as it passed, whole fleets shut down. Artificial suns flickered. Stargates froze mid-dash spin. No shots fired. No threats spoken. just a deep humming signal. Commander Reyes stood aboard the Leviathan, watching the Aegis on the screen. His voice was calm. "We are not here for revenge," he said, "but we will not be hunted again. You came to our skies with fire. Now we come to yours with truth." On dozens of planets, children looked up and saw the same thing, a black star moving through space. Not a comet, not a ship, something older, something human. And when it passed, memories came back. Memories that had been erased. Old songs, lost names, the smell of rain on Earth's soil, the face of a mother, smiling dot in secret councils. Leaders panicked. Alien generals screamed for war, but their weapons wouldn't fire. Their ships wouldn't move. Earth had changed the rules of battle. This was no longer a war. This was a reckoning. Lasari the scholar stood before her people. "The humans could have destroyed us," she said. "But they didn't. They showed us who they were, and maybe who we used to be." In one final broadcast, Reyes sent a message across the stars. "We will not conquer. We will not kneel. We will watch. And if you forget again, we will remind you what Earth became." And just like that, the Aegis vanished. No one saw where it went. Some say it returned to Earth. Others say it entered the stars, beyond the stars. But the sky never forgot. On a quiet world, far from war, a child looked up and whispered to the stars, "Thank you, Earth." And in the silence of the void, one final message drifted forever. Humanity's impossible warship came, and the galaxy was never the same.